so you take somebody with just 5% or 10% scalp hair loss, but what happens is they have to go to the dermatologist every 6 weeks because the needles work great, but by the time they show up the next time, they've got 6 new spots.
No, I see.
And so, I mean, it's completely untenable long term. I mean, it's just who wants to go to the doctor literally on a monthly basis to get 20 needle pokes?
Yeah.
And so, and you know, that's a rare group, but I do think it's another way of thinking about severity.
Sure. Okay.
And so I have a handful of those folks.
Okay. Can you tell us just a little bit more about AA in terms of what causes it? What's the mechanism of disease? What are the latest thoughts or theories on that?
Yeah. So, you know, I think all of the good data for what underlies the disease all comes out of Columbia, out of the labs of Angela Cristiano and a guy who used to be there, Raphael Kleins. But it's, you know, it's all immunology, and it says, you know, that the hair follicle secretes a protein called interleukin 15. Interleukin 15 activates and both recruits and activates the immune system. The immune system in turn secretes a protein called interferon gamma, which goes back to the hair follicle and tells the hair follicle to secrete more interleukin 15. And it turns out that both of those proteins, interleukin 15 and interferon gamma, both of those proteins signal via a pathway called JAK-STAT or via Janus kinase enzymes. And so that's what led to, you know, kind of whole explosion of JAK inhibitors, relatively new class of medicines in the last decade. The use of JAK inhibitors for alopecia areata. And so I think all of our data, right, which has shown that these medicines are very effective, they highlight that model for disease is accurate. So that's why it happens. That's how it happens. You know, people who develop it, this is something else that's been shown by Angela Cristiano and colleagues. You know, everybody's got the genetic background, and that genetic background is, you know, it's kind of an autoimmune background. You know, that you see the genetics of alopecia areata overlap a lot with rheumatoid arthritis, with psoriasis, with atopic dermatitis or eczema, with autoimmune thyroid disease. So you know, ultimately genetics lead to this, you know, this quirky immunology, which can be disrupted with or intervened on with this class of medicine called JAK inhibitors. You know, the whole, so that's what's happening. Okay. That's like actual life. And everybody wants to talk about stress, but stress isn't stress isn't, like, that's not real. And nobody's ever, like, it's just kind of what doctors say when they don't know. They tell patients things like stress causes. And so that's what people always come into the office saying, oh, you know, I lost a loved one, I lost my job, whatever. But the thing is right there, if something happened to you today and a doctor told you it was from stress, you know, we can all find a stressful event in the last 6 months of our lives. But it probably doesn't have a whole lot to do with our alopecia areata.
Okay, and that was going to be my next question. So perfect. Whether stress had anything to do with it. So, but that's very helpful.
The way you can everybody can understand in an instant that stress has nothing to do with it or has very little to do with it is that Syria is not bald. Because people in Syria actually live under true stress. And if